Alright, welcome to day number 4 of the challenge. Today we're going to work on our nice juicy hips. So with no further ado, we're just going to start our class. Just the last thing, subscribe, like, comment, let us know that you're still doing the challenge. Let's keep it going. Alright, we're going to start very quickly in a child's pose to start our class. So please bring the knees maybe as wide as the mat. If you like to bring them a bit in closer, that's fine as well. Make sure that your hips stay grounded onto the heels, wherever the arms like to go, like Ellie has with her hands forward. That's perfectly fine. If you like to have the arms between the legs, around the legs, hands interlaced like she's doing now, feel your child's pose that you feel good with now. Maybe it's a class that you started with us directly in the morning, as these classes come out at 8 o'clock every morning. So if you directly do them in the morning, maybe you have a little bit of a different pose than when you do them in the afternoon and maybe already warmed up. Maybe even did some regular training or practice already before. And just take here a couple of relaxing breaths. Feel that you can keep breathing in and out through your nose. So you just have these super calm, relaxing breaths. And if you work with Ujjayi breathing, that's perfectly fine. Just try to see if you can calm your breath as much down as you can. So even when we're here and Elisa has Ujjayi breath, I cannot hear her, right? You only have the Ujjayi breath that you can hear in your own head. Maybe bring some awareness into the body. Notice how the legs feel, how your hips feel. Maybe guide your breath down in towards the hips. And then on your next breath in, we're slowly going to roll up into our tabletop position. So slowly find your way. And here, bring your knees underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders. And we're just going to tuck our right toes under, and we're going to step our left foot to the outside of our left hand. So I'm just going to take a nice step. Here, just find some gentle circles so you can notice the sensation into your hip. And if it helps you for the openness of your hip, or if you feel really tight with the toes pointed forward, always feel free to find maybe an adjustment of the toes in a little angle out. This will bring a little bit more focus to the inner thigh here. So maybe also depending on where you want to feel it. Now here we're just on our hands. If you want to, or maybe you need to, always keep in this class maybe a couple of yoga blocks handy, because even here, if you like to sit up a little bit more tall using a yoga block, that's perfectly fine. I will guide a couple times in this class the usage of blocks. If you don't have them, don't worry, you can do this class perfectly without blocks. If you have them, that can be a handy tool to use. All right, from there, we're just going to go back into our tabletop. So we press into the hands, slowly release or slide our foot back, underneath the hips. Then directly tuck those left toes under so you keep them active. And then you step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And again here, you start to make some gentle circles. And I don't mind if you go just one direction or you move it up, internal, external, foot forward, foot outward. If you like to press a little bit forwards and backwards, any movement here just to get a little bit of a warm up to our hips. And just again, these gentle breaths in and out through your nose. Just a couple more circles here. And then slowly press into the hands and then slide the knee back underneath the hip again. All right, so we're keeping our right toes tucked and we're going to extend the left leg back. From there, we're going to squeeze our heel towards our buttocks. So we really squeeze like there's a block between our hamstring and our calf muscle. We squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then we're going to open our knee towards the side, opening through the hip. Notice that you're not sinking in one shoulder. You keep pressing. You're trying to just utilize that left hip. And then bring the knee forward, maybe touching shoulder, tricep, elbow, however it goes. We keep that squeeze into the leg. We bring it back all the way till the knee is pointing down and the feet is pointing up. Flex your foot. Really feel like your sole of your foot is kicking up towards the ceiling. At the same time, squeeze your heel down. We do this 2 more times. Start to open your hip. Feel that external rotation a little bit in the leg. Hold it for a moment. Keep pushing through both hands. Don't lose the shoulders. And then bring the knee up. Really strong. It's slow movements, but it should feel really hard. Same way you go back. So you don't just let it go. You keep that tension into the leg as you bring it back and squeeze it again. Don't round too much in your low back. Keep the tailbone tucked under. Keep pressing, protracting through the shoulders. Last time, open the hips slow, slow as far as you can without losing it. Bringing it forward, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Maybe your knee doesn't touch, but you bring it in as close as you can. Bring it back, slow, slow. Keep that squeeze for 1 more moment. Tuck the tailbone under, feel a nice long spine. And release. All right. Directly tuck the left toes under. Keep the left knee down onto the floor. Other side. Bring the right leg up. Squeeze into that hamstring. Really feel like there's a little block between your calf and your hamstring. Start to externally rotate. Open the right hip. Keep pushing. Don't sink in the left shoulder. As you have it 90 degrees, open, squeeze it forward as hard as you can. Really feel the compression into that hip flexor on the right side. Slowly release it back. Keep the tension, so don't lose the tension in the leg. You're constantly working through this whole movement, opening again. Squeezing it in, slow, slow. Breathe. Here you have to breathe through. Focus on your breath as you move. Release, slow, slow, slow. Rotate the knee down, squeeze it in. Again, tuck the tailbone under, press through the shoulders. Keep the whole body in line. Open slow. Bring it forward. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing. This is also amazing for arm balances. Crow, Ekapada Kunyasana, flying splits, all these things. This is amazing work to do to get stronger in those arm balances. Bring it back, squeezing, keep pushing, pushing, pushing. Lower it down. All right, maybe here, take a couple of nice circles also for your wrist and your hips. Release. How does it feel? It's good, huh? Yeah, I know. Just take some circles, maybe really feel the movement throughout your spine, your back, your hips here. All right, then from here, tuck the toes under, press into the hands, lift the hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the day, pedal the feet, move the hips. And if you like to stand still, feel free to stand completely still. If you even like to find any movement here in your down dog, maybe side stretches as well, anything. Just move for a couple of breaths. Maybe notice also if you press the heel down inwards, straight or outwards, how that affects the muscles in the calf as you're moving. You will feel usually that one side of your calf muscle feels a little bit more open than the other, so maybe one side makes it easier to press the heel down than the other. All right, then we're just going to have a little hip opening here. So press through the hands, press the right heel down. So keep the toes straight, press through the arms, then start to lift the left leg up to the sky. Then squeeze again that hamstring. So again, press the heel in towards your buttocks. Feel like there's a block between your legs. Then start to open the hip, open the hip. Keep pressing through both arms. Then start to make circles, but keep that squeeze into the heel. Keep pressing the opposite heel down towards the floor as well. So feel that hamstring stretch around the right leg that is down on the floor. And if you moved one way, move the other way as well. Around 3 to 4 rounds. 2, 3, and 4. And lift the leg up and then set it down. Other side, lift the right leg up, press really that left heel down to the floor. Feel that hamstring stretch. Squeeze the heel in, open your hip. And again, same way, start to make some circles. Doesn't matter to me if they're big or small. Well, these gentle movements will always feel super hard. Especially if you keep that foot flexed. You keep squeezing in as you're opening and finding the movements through the hips. Other way around for the last 4, 3, 2, and the last one, round. Bring it up, set it down, Press through both hands, walk the feet slowly up to the top. If you cannot walk your feet all the way forward like Ellie is doing, and you feel here you get stuck, just step them to the front and forward fold. If you like, you can let your arms hang, grab opposite elbows, or maybe even grab the back of the calves, maybe the heels. And then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, roll up to standing. Beautiful. All right, bringing the arms up on our inhale. Lifting up through the chest, maybe a gentle back bend here. As you exhale, you forward fold. Step back with the right leg. Bring the back knee down, just like in our Surya C that we did yesterday. Press, or 2 days ago I have to say. Press the hips forward and down, and open the heart forward. And this is the same thing we did in a Surya, but I want you to really focus on lengthening this back leg. So really press in the back toes, push the hip forward and down. At the same time, the front hip here, the front leg, is pulling back into its hip socket. So your hips are squaring off to the front, and you really want to search that length into the front side of your leg. Using blocks or being on fingertips, if you don't have blocks, can help you to maybe sink a little bit deeper. And here it's okay to relax the shoulders. I really want to bring focus to our lower body. So we stay here just a little bit longer than we do in our Suryas, where we move a bit faster. Here we have a little bit of time to start to stretch out the legs. All right, if you use blocks, slowly put them to the side. Bring your hands back down to the floor. And again, from here, push in through the hands, tuck the back toes, lift the back knees, step back to your high plank. High plank, we're going again, knees, chest, chin, or regular chaturanga, lowering down onto the belly. Inhale to your cobra or upward facing dog, whatever you prefer. And then you roll back down dog. So we're going to step forward again with the same leg that we step back, so that we switch the sides. So you can bring the right knee into the chest. Find maybe a little bit of compression. You really push the floor away as you come forward, giving you enough space to step forward. If you don't manage to step forward like Ellie is doing, and you feel like when you come, you need to lift, or your toes come all the way here, grab your ankle, place it to the front, lower back knee down. Same thing here, tuck the back toes, pressing the hips forward. If you like to use blocks, use blocks. Staying on the fingertips, it's okay to relax your head if you feel that brings a lot of stress to the back, and focus on pressing hips forward and down. It's okay to bring the knee over the toes. There's nothing that can happen with your knee as long as you feel yourself, of course, safe there. If you don't sensate any pain or discomfort in your knee, you can keep pushing it forward and down. Same counts for the back knee. If you feel any discomfort, you can always roll your mat or use a little blanket under the back knee if you have more of the pressure pain of pulling down with the back knee. Just a couple more breaths here, just to feel and lengthen. At the same time, squeeze slightly the inner thighs together and square the hips off. So pull this front leg back into its hip socket, back leg is pushing forward. All right, we're going to step to the front of the mat. So if you have the blocks, put them aside, hands down onto the floor, lift the back knee. As you exhale, step to the front, forward fold. Inhale, rise up all the way, arms reach, find length. And exhale, forward fold from the top. We're going to step back with our left leg. Left knee down to the floor. All right, so we have another variation, hands on top of the knee. So with the hands on top of the knee, we do the same thing. Now our body is a little bit more propped up, so this will feel a little bit stronger on our back hip flexor, but you can go also a little bit deeper if you have some more space. If you like to flex the foot like I'm doing, you really activate the foot like you're lifting your toes up. And again, that same pull action. Front knee, leg is pulling back into the hip, back hip is pushing forward, so the hips stay nice and straight in line as we sink maybe a little bit further down. Again, if you don't have blocks, keep the hands on the knee. Otherwise, like Ellie's doing, maybe hold your hands on blocks and feel. And just breathe and really tuck those back toes. Keep pushing. So as I'm sitting here, I'm not relaxed. You don't see it from the outside, but I'm actually actively contracting and pushing forward. So I'm really working this whole back line. Even feeling a little bit the contraction in the front hip. If you have a little bit of tightness there, it can be that you feel it there as well. The main focus, of course, the back leg where you feel it the strongest, and breathe through it. All right. Bring your hands back down if they were on your knees, or remove the blocks to the side. Same thing, lift the back knee, step back, high plank. Notice a moment of sensation in your hip as you come into your high plank, and knees just chin down to the floor, or regular chaturanga. Sliding through cobra up dog. Exhale, rolling back, down dog. Moving to the other side. So again, focus and move slow. I know we like to use momentum, but bring that left knee in, push the floor away, roll, roll, roll. Step the foot forward, back knee down. If you want to adjust your legs because you feel you can go a bit deeper, then bring the back knee maybe a little bit further back. That's perfectly fine. Tuck those back toes, use blocks, or maybe hands on top of the knee. And again, feel that you tuck the tailbone under, square the hips off, and sink. Maybe active foot, lifting the toes, pushing the knee even over the toes while it's pulling back. So the knee can be bent further than the ankle. It's just that the hips are squaring off, so you're still pulling it in, sinking everything down. Maybe even slight squeeze of the adductors on the inside, pulling them in. Keep the body nice and propped up. Maybe close the eyes, focus on your breath. Keep a smile on your face, even inside your suffering. Good suffering, as I like to say. And just taking a couple breaths here. And focus on the sensations. Notice also every time when you start to feel the sensations being strong, are you letting go a little bit, or can you hold it? Can you maybe push a little bit deeper, and once the couple of breaths make the sensations maybe a little bit lighter. Last breath fully in. As you gently exhale, if your hands are on your knees, slowly bring them down. Lift the back knee, step to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, rise up all the way, arms reach, find length. And again, exhale, forward fold. This time, step both legs back, high plank. And keep pushing the floor away. Now here you can have the option to lower the knees down. But if you have the strength, we're putting a little bit of strength in as well. Push the floor away, protracting the shoulders, press the heels back. Now again, lift the left leg up. Then squeeze the heel in again. Open that hip, we just go 2 times. Keep squeezing, opening, external rotation. Keep pushing through the shoulders, bring the knee forward. And bring it back, slow. Rotate the knee back down, squeeze the heel, 1 more time. External rotate, open that hip. And then bring the knee forward. As far as you can, that you can still squeeze. Bring it back. Rotate it down. Now keep maybe one leg up the floor. Chaturanga. Cobra up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. If you need to release the hips, pedal the feet a little bit. Maybe find a little bit of movement here to let go. Notice the different sensations that you have now in your downward facing dog after doing some of these hip stretches. Roll forward back to your high plank. We do directly the other side. Lift the right leg. Squeeze the heel in. Open the hip. Keep squeezing. Bring it forward as high as you can. Maybe tap the tricep or not. Keep that squeeze. Bring it back. Rotate. Keep squeezing the hamstring. Open. External rotation. Bring it forward. Strong. And bring it back. Maybe keep the leg lifted as you bring it back. Chaturanga. Cobra upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. Lift the left leg, 3-legged dog. Open the hip for that scorpion dog. And then step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Lower the back knee down. All right, so here we're just going to go a little bit more into a little passive stretch. So into our lizard pose. So here we're just going to hold it for a couple breaths. Foot forward again, foot outward. I leave that to you. If you don't have the space to bring the elbows all the way down, and especially if only this elbow comes down, but you cannot reach down with this, take a block, any height. It doesn't matter if you like to stay here or even onto the hands. As long as you feel, again, that work into the hips. So pull the hips down, maybe opening through this knee, maybe even using your hand to assist you a little bit to open the front knee. If you're already open there, just maybe go a little bit deeper, onto the elbows, maybe just using the block. A pillow, a sturdy book will do as well. Anything that just brings the height in, where you can feel that you can stay for a couple breaths without any problem. You can go through these breaths, and if you feel that you are not deep enough, you can always change the height of the block, go a bit deeper, or like Ellie is showing, just go down to your elbows. And here also, it's not only about just your body weight leaning forward. Sometimes it's even more beneficial to bring the body weight a little bit back, to maybe even walk the leg a little bit more back, and then again press down with the hips forward into the psoas muscle. Because it's not about you touching the floor, it's all about opening through the hips. So bring your awareness to where you're practicing. And don't care about the shape. You're not on display like me in front of a camera, no one sees you. So don't worry about how it looks. Bring more awareness of the sensations in here. All right, we're slowly coming back up. If you use the block, keep it in front and put it to the side as we're going after to the other side, but we're just going to take a nice hamstring stretch into our half splits. So we're going to press through the hands. Maybe you can keep them where they are, or they slide along with you back if you don't have the space for your hamstring. So here we just have a little bit of a counterpart for the compression and the opening in the hips, and we have a little bit of compression here. If you like to make it more isometric, like me and Ellie are doing, we're pressing the heel down, we're lifting the toes up. At the same time, this leg, I'm pulling back into my hip socket. The opposite hip again does the same thing, it's pushing forward. So again, we get the squaring of the hips, which makes it more intense onto our hamstring. At the same time, I don't care about rounding my back or bringing my head down. I'm focusing on bringing my heart forward. And even if you bend the head, feel like you want to bring your crown of your head forward as you're pulling this left leg back. So you feel that hamstring way more activated than when you're just falling down. Again, we're focusing on sensations, not on how something looks. Can you bring that awareness into your practice where you get the most out of every pose that you do, that every time when you step onto your mat, you get the benefit of your practice. So there's no time wasted of you being on your mat. You use it efficiently, especially in a lot of times when we have very few time to be on our mats. All right, coming back forward. Using the hands if you need to. Press the back toes, lift the back knee up, take a plank position. Maybe have a moment here shifting a little bit forwards, backwards. And then we go to our vinyasa, chaturanga. Cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, lift the right leg up to the sky. Three-legged dog, open that hip, scorpion dog or peeing dog. And then roll forward as your right foot steps to the outside of the right hand. Slowly lower back knee down. And again, find your adjustment. Maybe move the back knee further away. Maybe open the front right foot. Maybe even assist yourself by opening the front hip a little bit. And again, if you like to use blocks, maybe one, if you have to, maybe you use two. Give yourself a little bit more space. As you lower down onto the elbows. A lot of times in these poses, one block suffices. Now, two blocks can be handy if you have a height that just one block is too high, the other is too low. You can find a combination of the both of them to assist you. What happens a lot is when we go a little bit deeper into our lizard lunges, is that to become a little bit deeper, and when we want to bring the right elbow down, we start to open here, and we start to rotate down into our hips. Try to counteract that by squaring the hips off. So again, pressing that left hip down. Maybe moving even your body weight a little bit more back, opening that front hip, and then pressing the hips forward and down. Then you relax the arms again without feeling that you open too much, and you really get that nice sensation of slowly going deeper. And again, just focus on your breathing. Really calm it down, in and out, slowly through the nose. Try even to make the exhale twice as long as you inhale. A little bit of nice, deep, relaxing yin stretches. Where you really want to let go. You want to also be soft, but keeping the alignment in the most beneficial way for you. Just a couple more breaths, then we go to our half splits. Slowly start to rise. If you use the block, put it to the side. Maybe keep your hands in the same spot if you have the space, or let your hands slide along back with you stretching your right hamstring. Again, same thing, pull the right leg back into its hip socket, press the heel down, lift the toes up, left hip is pushing forward. Now, of course, if you can go deeper or you're even working with regular splits, I mean, it's fine for me, do whatever feels good to you. I just like to work a lot with half splits because you really can focus on the meaty part of your hamstring to really stretch it intensely. Or do like Ellie. If you do it like Ellie, like she's really flexible into her splits, as you can see, but she still focuses on that back hip. So she is not just opening that hip again to the side, she's still pushing that opposite hip down. So if you have that flexibility, you can go into your split. Notice if you can still rotate that hip down so that you're still pushing that left hip down and forward. So you still get the most benefit even out of a split practice. All right, also in your split, take another nice deep breath. On your next exhale, slowly start to come out. Come out with control. Maybe lowering the foot down, bringing your back knee further forward. Planting the hands down, pushing the floor away, stepping back, high plank. High plank again, push the floor away, strong into your plank. Breathe. As we go through our vinyasa, shift maybe forward, chaturanga. Cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, slowly rolling forward, coming onto our knees. We're coming to a position that we call 90-90. So we're starting again with our left leg forward. And the 90-90 position is where your front leg has a 90-degree angle and the leg next to you has a 90-degree angle. Here you can always check a little bit how high it is, that you don't bring it too far back that it becomes half of a pigeon pose, or it's so far forward that you have a little bit bigger angle. Now, if you really need to, you have some really cramping and pain, adjust the stance a little bit, but try as much as you can to keep that 90-90 angle. Same thing counts for the hands. So as we sit up, you can use your hands on the floor to stay up, or have your hands in front of the chest. We're going for 4 times to lean forward. If you feel leaning forward makes you fall to the side, please use your hands, all right? So I'm going to show it with my hands. Ellie will show it with the fist in front, that when she leans forward, she keeps her whole back as straight as she can in line, and you only go as far until you feel you start to round. Maybe that's all the way down, maybe that's halfway up. It doesn't matter. 4 times, going for the first one. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up. And 2, lowering down. Inhale, rise up. And maybe you feel on the second or third, you can go a little bit deeper. Rise. And 4, going lower, holding it a little bit. And also here, if you have, without your hands, use the strength of the back. Feel that you lengthen out. The crown of the head is reaching forward, so you're not just falling down, you're really reaching. You're just holding it here. 3, 2, 1, rising up. Maybe having your hands still down. Now, we're going to lower onto our left elbow. So as we lower the left elbow down, maybe in front with the knee or a little bit back, we're going to try as much as we can to lift our front ankle. This is external rotation into the hip, which can feel super intense, and it can be that your ankle doesn't even lift up from the floor, which is perfectly fine. Again, sensation. Keep pressing this left knee down, and then keep pressing the back leg down. So really brace, squeeze the back glute, and start to lift your left ankle up from the floor. Really twist it in. Hold, and lower down. 2, lift, squeeze, lower down. 3, lift. And also for me, it doesn't get that high. Lower down. It doesn't matter. Last one, 4, lift, hold, lift, lift. Really squeeze, really press the back knee down, squeeze the buttocks, lower. All right, back ankle is going to lift. So we stay on our elbow to help us support. Feel also here that maybe you can use your hand to hug in those ribs so you don't just sink all the way down. Keep that lifted. Press the back knee down and then lift, internal rotation, the back ankle up. Hold and lower. 2, lift up and only from the hip. Don't use anything as momentum. Lower down. 3, lift, lower down. Last one, 4, a little bit longer. Hold, lift as high as you can. Really squeeze. Try to get as much rotation as you can. And lower it down. External rotation on the back leg, lifting the knee up. Keep pressing the ankle down. Inhale, lift the back knee. Open. And lower. 2, lift up. Keep hugging those left ribs in. And lower. 3, open. Lower. Last one. A little bit longer. Hold. Really push. Press the toes down. Lift up higher. Feel really that you press the knee out like there's someone trying to push against, but you're pulling. You're pushing. And relax. All right, we don't have really a fancy switch. We're just going to swing the legs around. I mean, it can be fancy as well as we swing legs around. Going to the other side. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Now here, it might feel different. If on the other side, you needed to not use your hands, and on this side, you just tipple over. That can very well be. We have different flexibility usually in both sides. So however you need to adjust. And again, I will use my hands down. Ellie will use the hands up, but we do exactly the same movement. 4 times. Lower forward. And lift up. Keep pressing also this knee down, so don't lift it up with you. Keep pressing down into the shin and lower. Same thing. As you lower down, don't lower towards your knee. Keep the chest over the shin. Lift up. Last one. Fold. So just like a pigeon pose, we're not rotating over to the side. We're coming really to the front. Keep pressing the back knee down, flexing the foot. As you see, maybe you don't see, but my mat is actually curling up from pushing and really squeezing my foot. So I'm really active in these positions. Luckily, I choose with my hands and Ellie with the out, so she can feel a little bit more the suffering. And then we lift up. All right, same thing, coming down onto the elbow on this side. So again, lower the elbow slowly down. Hug your ribs in. And here, you may notice a difference. For me, it's a big difference on my left and right. Keep pulling the right knee down. Try to lift the right ankle. Lift. Now, I cannot lift it here. And down. 2, lift. Maybe for you it's different. And down. 3, lift. As hard as you can. Down. Last one, 4, lift. As high as you can. Lift that foot up. Press that knee down. Keep hugging it in. Don't sink down. Lift, lift, lift. And relax. Back ankle comes up. So again, if you need to readjust, hug it in, push the floor, lift the back ankle. Maybe this is also very different than the other side. Lower it down. 2, internal rotation. Maybe it's much harder on this side, but it doesn't matter. 3, lift as hard as you can, as high as you can, and lower. Last one, pull, lift as high as you can. Keep pressing the shin down, keep pressing the foot down, the knee down, hugging the ribs in, lower it down. Knee is going to lift up. Inhale, open. And down. 2. And down. 3. And down. Last one, 4. Come on, guys, we got this. We all suffer together. I mean, there has to be a challenge somewhere, right? And lower. All right, coming to the front. Bringing both feet together, butterfly. So butterfly, if you feel that when we bring the feet in and we want to hold and we get maybe a shape like this and you have a block or a pillow, put a pillow or a block underneath the hips so that maybe the knees are still high, but you get a little bit more of that anterior tilt and you can sit up more tall with your spine. So that can be a solution if you feel that this is a very hard pose for you. Same thing counts for how close you bring the ankles in. Bring them a bit further out if that helps to open the knees a bit better or to sit up more tall. Wherever that space is for you. Maybe use the hands around the feet or around the toes. In yoga, we always like to say to open our feet as a book. It's a little bit also of external rotation into our ankles, a little bit of flexibility in the ankles, but it also provides a little bit of more opening towards the hips. And here you can just sit up nice and tall and then push the knees down. So we're not going to fold down or anything yet. We're just going to do a little bit of contract and relax stretching. So we push the knees down as hard as we can. We stay sitting up nice and tall and then you relax. So maybe even the knees come a little bit higher than they were. And then as you exhale again, press them down, press them down, press them down. 3, 2, 1, relax. And for 3, pull them down. 3, 2, 1, and relax. 4, push them down. 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're going for 5. Push them down, push, push, push as hard as you can. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and relax. All right, and now we're going to push a little bit, not too hard, and maybe you can go a little bit into a forward fold. If you like to bring the elbows outside of the shins, that's perfectly fine. People that have the space even to like to bring arms underneath and come into a little bit of these type of folds, that's perfectly fine as well. Sometimes it just actually holds you back from where you want to go, so I just like to stay more with my hands on the outside, maybe bring elbows outside and just anterior tilt into my pelvis, lean the chest forward, and maybe this is a perfect place to stay, especially if you feel that otherwise your back starts to round too much or you feel a little bit of constriction in the low back. Just stay up a little bit higher. If you have the space, just like Ellie, you like to support a little bit the head, use a block. Or if you have the flexibility to just bring your head down towards your feet, then please feel free to find your expression of this butterfly pose. And just again, breathe slowly through. Maybe you like to still find a little bit of contract and relax a little bit into it if you really like those sensations. I do, they suffer, but it's again the good suffering, right? Just 2 more breaths, gently in and out through the nose. Make the breaths nice and long. And just slowly, on your next inhale, you start to rise. Just bring the knees together. Bring the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Bring the hands behind you, fingers can point forward. And we're just going to relax a little bit by just getting some rotations into the legs. Maybe even holding on the spot like Ellie's doing if you like to just feel a little bit like, oh, that side of my hip needs it more than the other. That can very well be. All right, next time when you move to the right, hold them there. If you like to and you have the space, maybe bring the ankle on top of the knee, assist yourself a little bit deeper. Sit up nice and tall. Other side, release the ankle, rotate them over. And again, maybe just keep it in this way. If you like to bring a little bit more into this front leg, feel free to do so. All right, and slowly release. Just bring the legs to the front and just shake them a little bit. Maybe bend, however you like to shake your legs just a little bit. And from here, just lay down onto your back, take your Shavasana. Just take a moment here to relax into your Shavasana. Maybe bring the awareness towards the hips. Notice a little bit how it's feeling. If this is your first practice in the morning, know that usually that feels a little bit tighter than maybe when you do it in the evening and you already had a day of movement in front of you. Makes it always a little bit more nice to do. But in the morning when we practice this, usually we'll feel after when you're done so good to start your day. I want to thank you all so much for joining us in day 4. We see you tomorrow in day 5. I'm not going to spoil it yet. But again, guys, we see that a lot of people that follow our videos are actually not subscribed. So please do us a big favor, subscribe to our channel. And we keep bringing beautiful content to you. That is my promise. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.